Coming up today on This Is True Really News.
Not tomorrow, not yesterday, but today.
Oh my God. That's all I can say. Oh my God.
I am hardly sorry for having offended thee.
People are nuts.
Oh, that's true.
What was he thinking?
I keep
We'll
thinking
ask the same question.
I keep thinking I want to ask that when I get there.
Yep. What the heck were you thinking?
You know, you made trees, and trees do what trees do.
Mm-hmm.
Made grass. Animals do what animals do.
Hmm.
And then you made man, and they're idiots. What was the
thinking here?
What? Was Michael having a joke? What? I don't get it.
I think it was an Archangel Steve we never hear about.
Bill the Archangel.
Or Loki the Archangel, which I
No, see, now you're mixing your thing of fours.
My God of fours?
That's it.
I'm good with that.
Puny
okay.
God.
Now, please like, subscribe, follow This Is True Really News. If you want to send us a story that you find in your area.
Now I have to go watch the Avengers movie because watching Hulk toss him around is worth the price of admission. It's all right with you. I'll take that drink now.
Ho-wham, 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 ho-wham. Ho-wham, ho-wham. That is a Warner Brothers bit.
Right there.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, if you find a story we like, you think we'll like, just send it to send it to TITR@netradio.network. There. Wow.
That was hard.
I'll say.
This is True Really News with Scott Combs and Tony Vercanis. All the news you're about to hear is true.
Really?
As far as you know.
Huh. Imagine that. Marcelo de Souza Ribeiro of Sao Paulo, Brazil, is known as B-Boy, the most modified man in the world. I don't know. Has he seen Hulk? That's modification right there, dude.
Well, has he seen the $6 Million Man?
Do the sound effects really come with that? Just because that was when you watch it now, it's like, okay, that's goofy, but it was fun back then.
Yeah, it worked.
He has 1,500 tattoos covering his skin, and now a new transformation, a devil hand. Yeah, according to the Daily Star, Ribeiro did a lot of research before undergoing the procedure, which split his hand between the middle and ring fingers. I began to see the possibility of making an opening, he said, through the middle where you can have opening and closing movements and a firmer folding of the hand. Over the years, he spent $35,000 on his modifications, which, including the devil hand tattoo, also sports a split tongue. He thinks of his body as an art exhibition. I think he's nuts.
Right? Is it a call for help?
No, but somebody should probably put him somewhere where he can't harm any more of himself. If there's any part of him that's left that hasn't been.
Well, let's move on to something else that'll make you ask, what the heck?
What the heck?
Excuse me.
What the heck?
Karina Gasparova was a project manager at the London office of SDocs, a company that provides paperless trade solutions. She took the firm to a tribunal claiming sexual harassment, discrimination, and unfair dismissal.
Of course.
The tribunal heard she believed her superior, Mr. Golandris, was trying to chat her up when discussing business on work calls and claimed he would stare at her. She claimed email correspondence from Mr. Golandris insinuated a desire to engage in sexual acts. Presented as evidence, the email from Mr. Golandris read, "Can you please complete the following? The solution is currently used by excess agris companies and YY barge lines in com cargoes in south-north flows in the ? Waterways. Also, can you remind me of what the balance of the rollout will be and the approximate timing? Thanks." Ms. Gasparova, who represented herself, and they always do,
well,
argued
saying.
Go ahead.
Only a fool represents himself.
Argued the excess or the two X's referred to kisses, and the YY to sexual contact, and the question marks was a coded way of asking when she would be ready to engage in sexual acts. Further allegations included Mr. Galandris saying,
all right, if you're reading scripture, that would be eisegesis, right? Reading a lot into it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Because exegesis would be taking out.
Yeah.
This was adding to.
Yeah, so it probably was.
I may have to ask you, could you email me that story? Because I want to see what these, I may want to use them later.
As she claimed he deliberately, wait. Further allegations included Mr. Galandris saying, have a nice evening, in what Ms. Gasparova described as an alluring voice. How you doing? And she claimed he deliberately touched her hand when reaching.
Couldn't make friends today, man.
The complainant also claimed when Mr. Galandris renamed a work file with his initials, AJG, it was an abbreviation of a jumbo genital. So what do you suppose the tribunal said?
After they got done laughing?
None of the incidents were sexual in nature and were rejected.
Get the hell out of my courtroom.
Skaraspova told the panel Mr. Galandris was rich and powerful and that a man in his position would be too clever to make any advances obvious. At some point, it has to become obvious or nothing's going to happen, lady. She submitted
It has to at least be obvious enough for other people to know.
Right. She submitted a formal grievance letter in April of 2021, but resigned after it was rejected. The claims from Ms. Gasparova were called a skewed perception of everyday events by the tribunal panel, which also said she demonstrated a tendency to make extraordinary allegations without evidence.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
Her claims of sexual harassment, discrimination, and unfair dismissal were rejected. She was ordered to pay £5,000 costs to S-Docs. And not a moment too soon.
No. Wow.
Your turn.
Jose Ruben Nava is the former director of the zoo in Chilpancingo, Mexico. Is under fire, if you will, which is good because fire burns up. After officials learned that he slaughtered 4 pygmy goats to serve at the zoo's year-end dinner.
From inside the zoo.
I guess. Fernando Ruiz Gutierrez, director of wildlife for the state's Environment Department, said serving the goat meat, quote, put the health of the people who ate them at risk because these animals were not fit for human consumption. So maybe they were outside. Nava is nope, it was inside. Nava is also accused of trading a zebra for tools. Pal, I got a zebra. What do you got?
What kind of tools you want, man? You want power tools?
He was oddly enough let go from his position in January after the death of a deer.
Once he sues, he'll be back in.
He was let go from his position in January after the death of a deer at the zoo, and we can only speculate. I'm truly thinking venison, but that's just me.
Everyone's storing data in the cloud these days, including, apparently, people's microbes.
I hate when my microbes do that.
The bacteria that live in and on a human body form a personal microbial cloud around a person. Oh, this time I thought it was gas. This microscopic mist spreads through the air and settles on nearby surfaces. Researchers report in Peer J that after 3 volunteers sat in a sanitized room for 4 hours, along with a sterilized laptop for entertainment, the researchers found human-associated bacteria had gathered on collection dishes in the room. These bacteria included species like Staphylococcus epidermis, often found on human skin, and Streptococcus oralis, a common mouth resident. Each person's cloud contained distinct types and amounts of bacteria, so distinct, in fact, that each subject could be identified by their microbes.
Great. First my DNA, now my microbes.
In a subsequent experiment, 5 of 8 participants could be identified by airborne bacteria in air filters in the room.
Really?
2 of 5 people produced so much microbial material that they could be identified based on cloud bacteria that get stuck in the room's air ventilation ducts. So you don't need the gas thing so much necessarily.
No. How do I stop that from happening?
Go on to the next story, I would expect.
No, that's not it.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.